Joining us on debate number 2 this evening, the ladies first. Mrinalini Deshmukh right with us here in the studio, senior advocate joining us. And good evening to Priyanka Chaturvedi, spokesperson of the Congress, Pinky Anand, member of the National Executive of the BJP and also an advocate herself with the Supreme Court, Ranjana Kumari, Director, Centre for Social Research, and also good evening to Gautam Kaul, former IPS officer, and Mr. Sudhir Tailang, cartoonist. The first question, I'll go with Mrinalini Deshmukh here. You've made all the laws, plenty of amendments, but do women feel safer? Has it made a difference right out on the street?
Honestly, I don't think so. They still feel safer. And in fact, the only thing that has been brought about is the awareness about the safety of the women. So I can only say that with all these, and I think media plays a major role in this, where they have highlighted some of these issues, and which are not only about gang rape or about sexual harassment, but about generally the safety of the women. And this awareness has made all the judiciary, the executive, and everybody, pulling up their socks and trying to get something. But to answer your question whether they really made feeling women safe, I wouldn't say, marginally, if not.
Why is that though? Why is that? Let's go across to Gautam Kaul, because one of the biggest concerns that we have when we look at data is that the number of rape cases seems to have actually gone up. Now, help us understand whether that's because there are more cases being reported as a result of so much, perhaps media attention on some of these cases, or is it because nothing's really changing out there on the streets?
I think more cases are being reported. There is more initiative amongst ladies to take that step and not hide within their veils or in their houses because there is an attached shame to their self. So the number of cases that are being reported is, let us say, showing a rise in the incident before the police and in their records. But the other fact is that yes, the incident is not being curbed because of the new laws that have come up. It has the new laws regarding rape definition are not helping the curb of the crime. And
why do you say that?
I think it will take time.
Why do you say that? Why do you say the amendments in the law have actually not done anything to help curb the crime?
It has not, because the male attitude, particularly let us say the north of Tropic of Cancer, has not changed at all. The status of women in the eyes of the male population.
Are you trying to say that the laws that have been passed by the legislators are not enough, Mr. Kaul? And I'm going to put this question across to Priyanka Chaturvedi, that should politicians come out and try and front only cases which have been played up in the media, or should they come out and also stand up for cases that are still pending in the courts, close to about 58,000 of them across the length and breadth of the country?
The laws have
no, absolutely. I would just like to mention what Mr. Kaul was saying. When he talks about mindset changes, that cannot come as part of the legislation. We have made amendments, and these amendments came into place after taking opinions from the people, from the civil society as well. Justice Verma Commission was set up, and we had taken suggestions from the civil society, and we had made those amendments. So having said that, we have amendments in place, we have legislation in place, we have laws in place. What he was mentioning is bringing changes in the mindset of the people. That cannot happen overnight. That is an ongoing process. I would say women can rejoice the day there is zero tolerance to this kind of attitude towards this kind of harassment that they face. When we talk about more cases are being reported, I would say because there is also, I would say some systematic changes have been made where women feel comfortable coming forward and reporting such,
Are these changes only on paper? That's the other question.
There are many more changes.
And Pinky Anand, do these changes make the women feel any safer?
Not. Absolutely not. Maybe.
Anand, what I would feel in these circumstances is two things. One, criminal law by its very nature punishes after the offence has taken place. by making stringent laws, by making stronger laws, by making more wide-reaching laws, as has been done by the amendments, and to some extent we did have decent existing laws also. By making them stronger, what you are trying to do is ultimately a deterrent effect on society, so that people who plan to perpetrate such offences are deterred because they realize that the punishment is so severe that they would be discouraged to continue with doing such an offence. One. It seems that the deterrent effect hasn't really seeped into society enough to show a substantial decline in rape figures. But having said that, rape figures by their very nature reflect two things. One, in the normal situation, people do not report rape cases, and the percentage of rape reported cases are extremely low in any society, leave alone in India. But today, because of the attention that is being focused by civil society, post-Nirbhaya and even otherwise, by the youth, by the media itself, so therefore there is this, and also the fact that the law today forces and insists that the registration of FIRs is done on the reporting of such a crime, and that police officers are guilty if they don't. There is obviously, though you cannot really do a very logical conclusion without going into more detail, but an analysis on a prima facie view would indicate that the number of cases that are going up is probably due to higher reporting, either by the press, by the media, by society, or a higher registration by the police, because earlier everybody wanted to show zero numbers, so therefore registration was at a fairly low ebb. So both these features might be the reason for the higher numbers as such. But the fact does remain, in coming just to one question, that in order for crime to go down in society, particularly rape, which is targeted against the female community of the country and of the world, you do need society's interaction, you need societal attitudes, you do need entire change in society's perceptions before you can do away with such kind of.
But what about the deterrent? You also mentioned it. Ranjana Kumari, where exactly is that gap now? There have been amendments to the law, as all our experts have been talking about. But where is the gap? I mean, let's just talk about the Nirbhaya case that was brought up right now. That verdict was delivered in the Saket fast track court, as we know. But as of October 2013, this is the data that we have here, only 3 out of 25 cases in the Saket court had actually resulted in convictions. There's more than 150 that are still waiting a hearing. Is it not the conviction rate that's eventually going to decide whether or not it's going to be a deterrent?
Well, I think 2 cases being decided upon is a welcome judgment. We welcome the judgment that has come forward. But, let me add to your data that it's not 50, it's 90, over 90,000 cases pending.
No, that's yes.
And look at the conviction rate. Yeah. Still, it has not changed.
I'm just talking about the Saket court.
It has not changed at all.
Yeah.
So, in that sense. Yeah, okay. So that's the reason why, the cases, and we are trying to pretend that, we are reporting it more. So that is why cases seem to be increasing. All the same, so many girls are getting raped. And also, do you know that in the rural areas, the rape cases are not reported more than 3 to 4%. That means out of 10 rape cases, perhaps more rape cases, only 1 comes to the light, or maybe less than that comes to the light. So let's not be complacent and say that, look, our system has become so efficient, police has become so sensitive that we are getting all the cases reported. Actually, it is not. And also, when you look at the way the court procedure
Ms. Ranjana Kumari,
there is no change in that at all. Yes.
What do you do about those that are being reported? Yeah. Where are the convictions happening in those that are being reported?
What I'm saying.
Where is the system? The system is supposedly in place only on paper, because the fast track courts are supposed to give their judgment in 2 months according to the amendment of the CRPC 309 CRPC. But this one today, what the politician stood there and claimed mileage, saying the fastest trial took 7 months on an open and shut case. It took 7 months in an open and shut case, a case where everything was there laid on a platter. It took 7 months. So are you really implementing a system, and are you really creating a system which is a deterrent?
Well, it's up to the people of India to decide that here is this Home Minister of Maharashtra who doesn't even take any responsibility. Even the rape case that happened on Juhu Beach, even the rape cases, so many rape cases have not even seen the light of the court proceedings. So what is he claiming? Is he claiming that because media, civil society, women's group, everybody was attacking them for not having protected this journalist, and so much of criticism was there of Maharashtra government, so they managed to get one rape case judgment come. So what about the others? Why don't they put every single crime against women cases through the fast track courts? Are those not women? Don't they deliver, kind of expect justice to be delivered? So why are we trying to get fooled by such politicians who don't care, who are insensitive? And look at this, just to get political mileage, the Home Minister is in the court to make a statement. How many cases does he attend of the rape cases?
Priyanka Chaturvedi, Priyanka Chaturvedi, you wanted to come in on that. The allegation is that the Home Minister of the state is looking for mileage here. But it's a valid question, because
Ms. Kumari,
before you answer, Ms. Chaturvedi, the question is that there are these couple of cases. Go ahead.
No, I've heard the question. What I'd like to add here, while I agree with Ms. Ranjana Kumari that there are changes that need to be made, fast track courts need to come up with judgments faster. There has to be a smoother process, a faster process where women get justice for crimes like this. But you also have to understand a couple of things. When we talk about the Shakti Mills gang rape case, when we talk about Nirbhaya case, there were some cases that became the catalyst for change, which woke up the entire system. This happens to be one of those for Bombay, where everyone was following this particular case, and I totally agree that the other cases should not be ignored.
Priyanka, if you claim this was a catalyst...
No, 1 second, can I just complete?
Ms. Ranjana Kumari...
Now we have a system in place.
Can I just complete?
Do you want to suggest that there is system in place now?
No, can I just complete? Ms. Kumari, I was hearing you can allow me to complete.
No.
Allow me to complete, ma'am.
No, Priyanka, this is
allow
misleading.
me to complete.
This is misleading, Priyanka, because if we are trying to convince our people...
No, this is absolutely no. I beg to differ, ma'am. Ranjana ji, you'll have to let me complete.
Go ahead, Priyanka. She's waiting for you to complete.
I was listening to what you were saying.
She's waiting for you to complete. Go ahead.
Point of view. So all I'm trying to tell you, here is when you have a fast track court in place, we also need to understand that every the person who has been accused also has to be given a fair chance to put their case in court. Now, if we have some loopholes and we rush to a judgment, he can always take it to higher court and they get acquitted for something like this. So we have to keep the law and order in mind and how the process works.
That's where there is a problem.
It's not about fooling the people.
No, that's where we are questioning.
Anand, can I just...
No, that's where we are questioning, Priyanka. That's where we are questioning whether or not the system has actually been put in place, or a deterrent like Tina asked has actually been put in place. You mentioned it on paper, but here are the facts. The facts are that the functioning of fast track courts aside, India faces a shortage of judges. Now, there are 2,332 cases pending in fast track courts in Mumbai, Mrinalini Deshmukh. This is data of 2012. Absolutely. And Justice Oka of the Bombay High Court has come up and saying that you want more fast track courts. Where are the judges?
Yeah.
Last 3 recruitment drives could not even fill 50% of the posts. Then there is more data which says there are no female officers to go and interrogate. And if the person who is supposed to do the investigation, even a male police officer, is on patrolling duty, how is he going to do his investigation seriously? So shouldn't the system, the lawmakers who come out and try and claim credit for one case, answer for the 2,300 odd which are still pending in Mumbai, and make it happen?
Probably what they are trying to say, and where I tend to agree with Priyanka is that, okay, by doing so, they are setting a precedent now. Now, this awareness which has been brought about, that these cases which have the rape trials, etc., has to be done in a summarily manner, in a fast track, so that there is justice given to the victim which is there. But as Priyanka rightly stated, there is a victim who is a complainant. There is also the other person who needs to have...
It can't just be one case, one at a time, in 10 years that is being tried in this process.
Pinky, may I complete?
Yes.
Pinky, may I complete, please?
66 years, 2 cases have been...
Would you please allow me to say...
Out of 2,000 odd cases, is that going to prove a point in this country?
The point here is, please, I think we all need to be first tolerant and
how it is
listen to
going
each other.
I request you to please let Ms. Deshmukh finish what she's saying.
You may disagree with me. What I'm trying to say is always try and look at the little positive side. Today there is one case which has been decided in a period. Just hear me out, Ms. Kumari. Which has been decided in a period of 7 months. Now, when any trial has to be decided, we all know, Pinky, you, we, all of us know that there is a defense also to which has to be heard by the judge, and he has to decide, etc.
I'm with you.
So that,
I'm not talking about this. I am simply talking about, Mrinalini, there is no dispute on this proposition. It's very good that we've had one case which has been decided within a period of 7 months. So the question is, what happens to all the other cases?
So now this is set up procedure
not being put in place.
Yes.
What happens to the question that Anand has raised about judges not being appointed to the
which is
court?
Exactly. I was just coming to that.
What is the answer to the question that 1,000 lakhs is set aside, 1,000 crores, I'm sorry, set aside for the Nirbhaya fund, which has not been allocated to
which is exactly Pinky, which is exactly what I'm trying to say. That today, if you have
All right, ladies, I have to request you all to please allow the others to speak. Ladies, I will request you all to please allow the others to speak. And can we also get Mr. Sudhir Tailang in, because he's been patiently waiting for a while. Mr. Tailang, as a voice of the citizens, a voice that you put forth in your cartoons, do you feel as a society and, are women in this country feeling any safer? There have been measures that have been taken, of course, amendments to the law, but are the women actually feeling any safer?
Tina, in the third week of December 2012, people of Delhi were angry. People of the whole country were angry after the Nirbhaya case happened. The brutal rape of Nirbhaya woke people out of this slumber, the whole country. People are still angry. In 2014, people are still angry. I do not think things have changed much, apart from changing a few laws here and there. The fact remains that in Bombay, even today, out of the 49,000 policemen, that force they have, 27,000 are given for VIP security, and the whole city is left for only 22,000 policemen. And I think the same is the case with Delhi and many other cities also where VIPs live, most of the capitals. This is what is happening. But I am telling you, this is the right time to raise the questions, because elections are happening right now. I think the 50% of population of this country has every right to ask the political parties, each political party, every political leader, ask Rahul Gandhi, ask Narendra Modi, ask Mr. Kejriwal, what do you have for us in store? What are you having in your manifesto in this election? Demand from them.
You know the issue,
ask them
Mr.
that we want not many things, just basic security for women.
Mr. Tailang,
that is what we want.
Although your argument is very sound and perhaps logical too, the issue is that they will all talk. Nobody walks the talk. And that's what the facts prove. That helpline, remember 181 helpline that was set up? They are receiving 3,000 calls per day. Only 60% of them are being answered, because there aren't people who are ready to pick up those calls, because those people are supposed to answer the calls. Those people are supposed to answer the calls. I have not been paid salaries.
That's the point, Ms. Kumari. They have not been paid their salaries.
They have not been paid salaries.
We speak up.
No,
this is the time we speak up.
That's what I'm trying to say.
This is the job of the media, you and me.
The other part,
awareness about it.
The government, and be it the state or be it at the center, when the government says, oh, we'll put in stringent laws, implement them, create the infrastructure. So if it is not there, are we actually safer? Are the women of the country actually safer? You can put it across to the mindset, Mr. Kaul. You can put it across.
Anand, one second. Anand, 1 second. I'm saying is that in this election, ask political parties not to field criminals, those who have raped people, people who have been involved in crimes against women. Do not let them.
There is a
this time. Mrinalini, you were making a point there.
We are going to release soon the list of criminals who have been fielded in every different. Violators of women have been fielded in Delhi as candidates.
Don't vote for them. Do not vote for them. Defeat them. That is what I'm saying.
So I think but this
is the only thing that you can do as a citizen. What can you do?
That when people who have tortured women, people who have violated women are given ticket in Delhi. Forget about rest of the country. So what are we talking about? Just look at some of the candidates.
That is what I'm saying.
You read their records. And you will know the kind of...
I mean, if 50% of the population decides to defeat them, they will be defeated.
That is why they are not promising anything in their manifesto.
Don't vote for them.
But what about the fact that they stand, Mrinalini Deshmukh?
Absolutely. So that there are Supreme Court directives also which has been stating that all those people who are convicted and have a criminal records will not be should not be allowed to contest elections and so on and so forth. Now the reason behind this is that what is happening is today the Supreme Court or the judiciary is doing the job of an executive which the executive has to do. So every time you have the judicial activism and the judiciary has to come in and they have to give in and lay down all these things which are there. So coming back to this, the main issue here is as it was rightly stated that you cannot let criminals, not people who are have any kind of things tainted, should be allowed to be contesting. And as somebody rightly stated that then if they are by whatever, then they should not be elected, and it should be the responsibility of the public to ensure that they don't vote irrespective of which party that particular candidate belongs to. And that's what my view here is. So the social awareness, the public awareness is very important, and once we start appreciating this fact, only then there will be awareness, and then these things will be able to weed it out from the society gradually, and that's where I'm pretty optimistic about it.
No, but the fact is, who's responsible for keeping the women safe? Isn't it the system, the lawmakers and the law enforcers? Before you come to the judiciary, those people who create and promise a system have not created the system, Mr. Kaul, and those people who are supposed to enforce the system are not doing it.
Which is exactly what I said, that is the judiciary which is coming to the rescue.
That is why you need police reform. That is why you need judicial reform.
No.
All right, we need to speak one at a time, please. Pinky Anand, you want to... Can we please listen to what Ms. Pinky Anand wants to say first?
Anand, I think you have a point exactly in place. As I mentioned to you earlier, as far as the courts are concerned, yes, we need reforms, and a number of discussion has taken place regarding either the number of judges, fast-track courts, expediting the system, but that is after the offence has occurred. So the question of how to reduce the crime in the first is the real moot question that is facing all of us. And to have that happen, you have the administration to be working efficiently, you have to have the enforcers, the police authorities working efficiently, you have to have the society, as Mrinalini also just spoke about the society being hyperactive to protect women and the marginalized sections of society. I mean, this entire system has to come into place. One of the crucial impacts that the judicial system can have, and we should not keep worrying about making it into days because trial has to happen according to the due process of law, is the fact that if you have on a regular course, not sporadically one or two cases, if you have on a regular course fast-track courts and courts which expedite trials and convictions happen, that does send down a message in society. It may take a little time,
yes,
but we have to go in that direction.
Exactly. And I think...
And the expediting of the courts.
If we can go to Mr. Kaul, that's something we've often heard the police say as well. Because the police says that, we do our job, we go out there, we catch the criminals, and then this long-winded judicial procedure is what is a lack of a deterrent, essentially. Because you have fewer convictions, you have long drawn out judicial procedure. That's really something that needs to be rectified, and fast track courts need to start delivering the justice within those 2 to 3 months that they're supposed to do. And also we need to see higher rates of conviction.
Tina, I would also suggest when you're talking about figures which are being thrown here in this fashion, it should also be seen how many cases are registered and actually go to trial.
Yep.
The figures that you are discussing are the ones which are actually in trial or pending. What about the number of cases that do not get to that place?
But Pinky Anand,
absolutely.
Pinky Anand, you have to change the mindset.
Pinky Anand, even before we question the number, and Rajana Kumari, even before we question the number of cases that have been registered, what is being done to give that confidence that if a case is registered, there will be conviction? Because across Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore, the rate of conviction is not more than 10 to 12%. In some cases, 0.3%.
Mr. Kaul, I want your take on that. Mr. Gautam Kaul, I want your response to that.
Tina,
we'll come to you. We'll come to you, Ms. Kumari. I want Mr. Gautam Kaul's response to that. Mr. Gautam Kaul.
Yeah, but you have to understand why conviction doesn't come
We'll come to you. Ms. Ranjana Kumari, we'll come to you. Mr. Gautam Kaul, if we can have your response to that first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would like the attention of the panelists for at least 35 seconds and uninterrupted.
Go ahead, sir.
You see, I've heard all the members give their views, and I would like to add to their arguments a couple of things. Now, one of the issues that has been said is about delays in the trial proceedings. Even if it is 5 months old, it is only a conclusion of the first stage. Now there is, after the judgment is given, the punishment is announced, the defense still has the right to go to the higher court. Again the process will continue, and when the higher court gives a judgment, it will again go to the Supreme Court, and then finally this matter will be agitated both by the prosecution and by the defense, and then the final decision will come. And then it will go to the President of India, who has to decide on whether to accept the recommendations of the government or not. Now, this will still take about 13 months. You are talking about 5 months only. It is not a matter of pride that you have concluded the proceedings in 5 months. It's going to take at least 13 months. And that is the
Ranjana Kumari,
by
you
which
disagree?
you are going to deliver justice.
Ms. Ranjana Kumari.
Well, let me know. I just wanted to say a very, make a small 1 minute. But you finish your 35 seconds, Mr. Kaul. Let me say something.
He's made his point. Yes, Ms. Kumari.
I just want to say that you know,
second thing that I want to
I'm
say
just saying that on an average in our country, the rape trials take place from 4 to 9 years, even 11 years. We have trials which are, so should justice be even at the level of the lower court, and then it goes, as you rightly describe, High Court, Supreme Court. So should there not be a time-bound justice delivery system through a fast-track court where police is obliged to submit the report in time, do proper investigation? We do not have, and that is why witness turn hostile. In many cases, even the victim turns hostile. The family takes the victim away. They don't want to face the trial for 9 years. You know, if the girl is raped at the age of 8, 9, 10, it's her marriageable age. Parents don't want to stay in the court and keep saying that, oh,
and that's the big question.
How will she get married?
That is the big question. Do we not need more, specific time-bound judicial system delivery? Do we not need higher rate of conviction? Because yes, there's this one case where 7 months equals, fast justice according to the Home Minister of the state. But what about all the other cases? That's the question we've asked today. Are the women of this country feeling any safer? Thank you very much to all our panelists for joining us on the second debate tonight.